So for the second time this season, we will hear the German national anthem playing for Lgbt in the Lgct Podium, thanks to victories in Doha and now in Mexico City. He extends his lead on the overall Lgct championship standings. And despite claiming to still not be a contender, Lgbt now leads on 99 points, ahead of Michael Duffy on 92. And what a surprise package young Gilles Thomas has proven to be. He is in third place on the overall championship standings. Yes, it is early days. Yes, there is a long way to go. But as it stands now, the overall championship standings perhaps looking far more unique than many people would have imagined, with Michael Duffy in second and Gilles Thomas in third. Certainly wonderful signs for the future. Our sport is in good hands. We stand by now and await for the official podium. There is your victor and there is your championship leader. Lgbt and Miller, this incredible pairing that has jumped clear more often than not this year in 2022. In fact, just one fence going down in GCL earlier on this weekend, and once again jumps a double clear in the Lgct. We must thank the City of Mexico for playing host and doing so with absolute beauty this weekend, certainly treating the global champions family to yet another magical event. It's been quite some time since we were back in Mexico City after an extensive breakaway. It is wonderful to be able to return for the first time since 2019. Lgbt in first place. Dennis Lynch on Brooklyn Heights in second, who will, by the way, now be at the Lgct Super Grand Prix in Prague. After having already secured his ticket in Doha, Lgbt now gives up his golden tickets, and that will go to Dennis Lynch, the man in picture. Heartbreak for him to lose the Grand Prix of the very last contender by 0.05 seconds. If it is any form of, contribution for him, the fact that he will now be in Prague later on this year competing for a Super Grand Prix title should make him feel just a little bit better. And what on earth happened in that last line with Michael Duffy and Zilton? I think he still is trying to work it out. Zilton is still trying to work it out. It seemed to be in the bag, and unfortunately for him, adding strides strangely in that last line just saw him miss out on what would have been his very first Grand Prix win. He was third in Cascais back in 2019. And waiting for that first ever Lgct Grand Prix title. And unfortunately, Michael Duffy will have to wait just a little bit longer. A real show of appreciation, a real show of respect. I would love to say it is the future and the past, but it is very much the present for both men here. Lgbt, despite being 58 years of age, continues to go toe-to-toe with all of the riders, young and old, on the 2022 Lgct season.
Michael Duffy.
Finishing in third for Ireland, Michael Duffy and Zilton SLZ, second in the championship and third here in Mexico.
Los irlandeses a un gran nivel. Tercero Michael Duffy, segundo otro irlandés que con su experiencia ha compensado la falta de experiencia de su caballo. El aplauso, por favor, para Dennis Lynch.
Dennis Lynch in second, making two final on the podium with Molly Ostrom's Brooklyn Heights in second spot.
Señoras y señores, el ganador, ahí le tienen, el número 1 de la clasificación, el más grande, no digo más, el aplauso de México para Lgbt.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Mexico City, presented by GMP Seguros. It is a massive congratulations to Germany's Lgbt and Miller.
En honor del vencedor suena el himno nacional de Alemania.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Germany.
Himno nacional de
The
Alemania en honor del
Lgct of
ganador.
2022 belongs to Germany. For the third time in succession, we have heard the German anthem play at the end of an Lgct Grand Prix victory for Ludger Beerbaum in Doha, in Katrin Ackermann in Miami, and once again for Mr. Beerbaum in Mexico. Germany is dominating the Longines Global Champions Tour as it stands now. Your three podium finishers, Michael Duffy and Zoltan in third, receiving his trophy by Jan Tops. He is now off to Dennis Lynch, Brooklyn Heights, who now books his ticket to Prague, finishing second in a time of 44.56. And of course, your victor, Ludger Beerbaum, in first place on Miller, receiving his winner's trophy today for a second Grand Prix victory this year already. And it has been sensational form for the German veteran. 2 wins in 3 stages. And yet somehow he is trying to convince us that he is not championship material. Yes, championship contenders do need variety. They do need options. And there's no denying that this pair is stuck with only Ludger and Miller. But for as long as that pair can continue to ride in this form, Ludger Beerbaum will continue to cash in on very, very important and very costly championship points. A Longines timepiece being given to your victor today. A few final shots of your winner of the Mexico Lgct Grand Prix for 2022, Ludger Beerbaum.
To our winning rider, which just leaves the trophy.
Y ahí queda lo último, el gran trofeo, esa preciosidad de copa que va a entregar Diana Wright Rebolledo, directora de Servicio de Operaciones de GNP Seguros. Ese trofeo y ese aplauso para Ludger Beerbaum.
Congratulations, Hollywood champion, today's the champion once again, second season to Ludger Beerbaum.
El trofeo para el ganador, Ludger Beerbaum. Otro trofeo más que se lleva para casa el jinete alemán, que ha montado a esa mina, una yegua joven de 10 años que tiene todavía una gran carrera por delante y todavía queda que podría quedar. Está muy claro, ahí lo estamos viendo, los sombreros que vamos a colocar rápidamente, porque estamos en México a los 3 primeros clasificados.
Changing hats. There we go, like you've never seen them before.
Out come the sombreros. We have been waiting for this moment all weekend long.
Get a big hat.
And what I would do for a Longines sombrero, it means I will have to be an Lgct Grand Prix podium finisher to get my hands on one. But that is an outstanding piece that the top 3 finishers now get to show off. What a weekend this has been in Mexico City. What a stage this has been on the Longines Global Champions Tour. And what a season that is unfolding before us. Ludger Beerbaum with a victory on the first stage and a victory on the third. And now the champagne comes. The sombreros are off. The champagne is out. And Ludger Beerbaum takes a very, very well-deserved sip to celebrate his weekend. Stopping the clock at 44.51 seconds. Heartbreakingly close for Michael Duffy and Dennis Lynch. In fact, the top 3 separated by just 1/10 of a second. And Ludger Beerbaum, in fact, going on to win it by 0.05 seconds. Even during the head-to-head that Frederick de Backer took us through a few moments ago, it is impossible with the naked eye to try and work out how and where that 0.05 seconds was found by Ludger Beerbaum. But it was. The science of the sport tells us so. And now we get to enjoy a lap of honor by our 3 podium finishers. The crowd in Mexico have enjoyed themselves. There has been top quality show jumping on display all weekend long throughout both stages of the Global Champions League and of course through round 1 and round 2 of the Longines Global Champions Tour as well. Excited for top quality show jumping are these local fans, and that is exactly what the Global Champions have been able to deliver this weekend and put on a serious display.
Also, congratulations to our leading three here in next on the Longines Global Champions Tour. He tops the lineup, he tops the championship so far. He's told the score. Ladies and gentlemen, Germany's Lgct champion here with Mila.
Historia de la hípica mundial, campeón olímpico, campeón de Europa, ganador de la Copa del Mundo, líder de Longines Global Champions Tour en la Vuelta de Honor en Campo Marte.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legends that is Lgct.
Y por detrás, que también tiene su mérito, un joven irlandés que vuelve a estar en el podium, montando a Hamilton. Ahí está Michael Duffy. ¿Saben lo que pasa? Que a Lgct le ha parecido poco el aplauso que ha recibido hasta ahora y quiere un poquito más porque se quiere marchar de México con una ovación inolvidable. Así que vamos con ese último aplauso de México en la última Vuelta de Honor para el ganador del Gran Premio, para el Kaiser, para Lgct.
Lgct enjoying his final few moments inside the Mexico City ring for the 2022 Lgct Grand Prix. And what a victory, what a performance it has been. And need I remind you that Mila is still only 10 years of age. And the development, the growth, the improvement that we've seen from 2021 to 2022 has been frightening. This pair is getting better and better and better. Let's show you the podium finishers as they came out for the jump-off. Dennis Lynch was, as far as the podium finishers is concerned, the first man out on Brooklyn Heights. At this time, Gilles Thomas had already come out on Luna van der Dennehof and stopped the clock at 46.49. There was a fault, though, for the young Belgian. So Dennis Lynch knew that if he were to keep it clean, if he were to keep all the fences up, he would automatically move into first place. So Lynch and Brooklyn Heights did attack the course incredibly quickly and looking to try and beat that time of 46.49. It felt a little bit long for Gilles Thomas. Always difficult to be the first man out the gate. And when it came to this point here, the split timing was very much in favor of Dennis Lynch, eventually stopping the clock at 44.56. And that was enough to take first place and the provisional lead in the jump-off. Heartbreakingly for Dennis Lynch, he held on to that provisional lead right until the very end. But Michael Duffy was the next of our podium finishers to make his way into the ring, knowing that a time to beat set by Dennis Lynch was indeed 44.56. So Michael Duffy and Zilton were the pair that then followed after Ben Mayer. Peter de Vos had a fence down. Ben Mayer had a fence down. Again, much like Dennis Lynch, Michael Duffy knew that if he were to keep it tidy and keep all the fences up, that he would be in contention for this title. As far as the splits were concerned, it was very much in favor of Michael Duffy. At this time, the crowd started urging, started encouraging, started chanting him on, because again, the time to beat there, you see, was 44.56. But here in this final line, as we approach the final jump, adding strides, adding strides, adding strides. And the adding of those strides saw him miss out by 0.03 seconds. Look at the impact that it had on Dennis Lynch. Look at the impact that it had on Michael Duffy. The frustration, evidence, the anger, evidence. Michael Duffy was just that close to winning an Lgct Grand Prix title. But unfortunately, that final line catching him and Zilton out, adding just valuable, minuscule seconds that cost him the title. And outstepped Ludger Beerdbum, the final man to go. Already an Lgct winner this year in 2022. And as we said, this pairing getting better and better with each passing event. Still only 10 years of age. By this time, Gilles Thomas, Dennis Lynch, Peter De Vos, Ben Mayer and Michael Duffy had all had their turn. Very tight on the rollback. And already the excitement started to build here when the split timing started to come in. Because here we see 0.13 seconds faster was Ludger Beerdbum and Miller. He continued to press and continued to attack. And now as he approached then after this jump here, the final line, it was for any man to take. The time difference that we are talking about is 0.05 seconds. That's how tight it was. But that was the difference between Ludger Beerdbum winning a second Lgct title this year and Dennis Lynch winning his first since 2008. Going back to Doha 2008 is how far back you have to go for Dennis Lynch to find his last Lgct Grand Prix title. And unfortunately, 0.05 seconds is now what separates him and Ludger Beerdbum as the winner and loser this afternoon, unfortunately. Let's show you the head-to-head and remind you just how tight things were between these two men. Once again, we'll show you the two top finishers in today's Lgct Grand Prix. Ludger Beerdbum and Miller on the left. Dennis Lynch and Brooklyn Heights on the right. Here we see Dennis Lynch ahead, but that tighter rollback from Ludger Beerdbum sees him get to the next jump quicker. Now he opens up Miller, but all of a sudden Dennis Lynch and Brooklyn Heights come back to the mix again. Ludger Beerdbum out of the combination slightly quicker. Now Brooklyn Heights makes up some speed, quicker on the turn and gets to the jump faster. Now they make a turn. Coming into what would be the final line, it's Miller that's slightly ahead. They open things up, push for the final jump, and I remind you that at 0.05 seconds, Ludger Beerdbum creeps over the line, sneaks over the line, and at 0.05 seconds, makes him the winner of the Lgct Grand Prix in Mexico City. What a performance it has been for the German veteran, and I believe that he is standing by for us. Ludger Beerdbum, you have been making a real effort to tell me that you are not an Lgct championship contender. Are you trying to prove me wrong each week?
No. No, I don't even have that in mind to prove you wrong. I don't have such thoughts. I just try week by week, show by show, to do the best possible. And thanks to my mare, who's more and more getting to this level and getting to understand what we should together do. She's been consistent in the last 12 months, but now she really starts also to be a bit more competitive in the jump-offs, like Doha and here, and it's a real pleasure. And I can tell you one thing, I could not enjoy it more.
Ludger, Miller was great in 2021, but you make a good point. She just seems to have stepped up her game in 2022. Are you able to tell us how and why, what work has been done that we've seen such big strides being made for her over the last 12 months?
Well, I always thought that she has a lot of talent. She's a bit of a freak horse. She's a bit funny with the environment, scared of other horses, and in the warm-up it's always a little delicate, but you all could always feel unbelievable potential. And I really believed in it, and I gave her all the time, like last year, in all the... I mean, she's been clear many times, but every time we got to the jump-off, she wasn't really ready to go fast, and I always thought, oh, we just keep on going, and as soon as she relaxes, she will be able to be competitive. And it took quite some time, but now it seems to really be actually easy. And yeah, she can even make an old rider look pretty good.
Well, the old rider is looking pretty good, especially against a lot of very young riders. Talk to me about the younger riders pushing you beyond your 58 years of age and making you go toe-to-toe with men that are far, far more your junior.
Yeah, I mean, I also, that is just something, it's a bit theoretical, all this. I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm very grateful to have a super horse who gives me this opportunity in the late days of my time. And but I know, yeah, I'm on the finishing line with my riding. I'm aware of that, and it's good that we have a lot of up-and-coming, young, talented riders doing a really good job. And every now and then, I still have probably a small chance, and I enjoy that.
And Luca, will we see you in Madrid? We asked you a few weeks ago about changes. Will you be traveling to Madrid? Will you be jumping for the Berlin Eagles? Will you be jumping as an individual?
We have to decide that in the coming days. When the horses are back home. Originally, it was Philipp Weishaupt and Philipp Schulze-Tophoff planned to go to Madrid. Philipp Schulze-Tophoff, he broke his collarbone, so it's not really clear whether he will be back for Madrid or not. If he is not, I may go to replace him, but the question then is if I do it with Mila or the other horse, Cool Feeling, is to be decided in the coming days.
All right, well, we'll let you enjoy this moment. Get back home safely, Ludger. Congratulations again, and well done on what has been a sensational start to the season.
Thank you very, very much, and I promise I do enjoy it.
Ludger Beerbaum trying his absolute best to still maintain the theory that he is not a championship contender. I do have an updated overall standings numbers for you. Ludger Beerbaum lead by 99 points, I beg your pardon. After going on to win in Mexico City, he now leads on 99 points. Michael Duffy on 92, just second behind him, and Gilles Thomas on 66, making up your top three as we take a look at the final result in Mexico. Ludger Beerbaum finishing ahead of Dennis Lynch and Michael Duffy, and Zilton in third place. Now, speaking of, Michael Duffy is standing by for us. Michael, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Heartbreak for you, I have no doubt. Tell me how you're feeling.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet feeling here now at the minute. Obviously, there's a pure elation in how Zilton jumped, and listen, the podium, you know, at an Lgct Grand Prix is you know, pretty goddamn hard to do. So it's amazing, but to be so close, and you know, look at when you've got, you know, those guys like Ludger and Dennis, you know, to be at the business end and sort of, you know, just boxing with them is a great feeling, and so bittersweet. I'm very happy, but I'm going to get my nose in front soon.
Michael, have you been able to replay that last line in your mind? Are you able to tell us what was going through your mind, what happened in that final line?
Yeah, I had just a quick glance at the video, but yeah, look, it is one thing going fast at 145, and then it's another thing doing it in a 160 Grand Prix after a GCL and a GCT first round. And I can safely say, excuse me, my horse is one of the best horses there, and I made a bit of a dog's dinner of the Grand Prix jump off in Doha, so maybe that was in the back of my mind. I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to be as fast as I can without risking too much, and you know, I took my time to the double, got it out of the way, and then, you know, I was kind of going to the last, and then I just basically I sat and waited for the safer one instead of, you know, throwing everything at it. But I suppose it goes to show, like, there's a second or two left in that horse too, you know.
Yeah, and Michael, you mentioned some big names that you were boxing toe-to-toe with, but need I remind you that you are second on the overall championship standings as well, and following a good performance today, has that ignited some belief at a championship run for you in 2022?
Yeah, listen, I'd love to, you know, to be, you know, in the position to have a go at the championship, and I don't think it's unrealistic, to be honest. I think my horse is as good as anyone's, and you know, we've done the hard work in producing him for the last couple of years, and we took our time, and he feels like a real man now. So, you know, he feels like he's ready to kick on and to do more. I mean, he's jumped 2 double clears in GCL and clearing 2 Grand Prix already from the first 3 shows. So he's ready, and like, you know, yeah, I remember as a kid growing up, you were always watching the likes of Ludger Beerbaum on TV and legends of the sport. So to be chasing him and putting it up to him is great. I did think in the first round when I was clear, I thought, I wonder will that put any pressure on him, but I don't think that man feels pressure anyway.
I must admit, he does feel rather robotic to me as well. I want to say congratulations, bittersweet, as you said, but to get onto a podium on the Lgct is, of course, a wonderful feat. So congratulations and good luck for the rest of the season.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
All right, Michael Duffy and Zilton going through in the Lgct Grand Prix jump-off, finishing in third place. And as he said, it's a real bittersweet moment because, yes, this is an incredible moment, a huge achievement for him and everyone that has worked behind him to get to this point. However, to lose it in the moment that he did, to lose it by the margin that he did, must be incredibly heartbreaking. I imagine that perhaps it's somewhat of a similar feel as well for Dennis Lynch, who eventually finished in second place. Dennis Lynch standing by for us. Dennis, watching you watch that jump-off was rather entertaining. We saw all of the emotions running through your mind. Take us through when you were in the warm-up there. What was going through your mind watching competitor after competitor?
It's a new ride, Mark, so obviously I was quite enthusiastic. It was good as I could. And yeah, I'm normally not the most emotional person, but in that moment when you're kind of nearly there, and eventually do get beaten, yeah, it's quite disappointing, but the plus of it is the horse ran great. I'm delighted with how he went. I'm qualified for the Super Grand Prix, so that's a major plus, so we'll focus on that now.
I want to ask you about that Super Grand Prix because I know it's not the same as giving you an Lgct Grand Prix title, but what does it mean for you to be in Prague? You will now be there alongside Ludger Beerdebam, Kathleen Ackerman as well. Your name goes on that list and you'll be jumping for a huge, huge prize at the end of the year. How does that feel?
Oh, it's a great feeling. It's what we work towards, and we can prepare for that now in the next months, and please God, we'll get there in good shape.
Absolutely. Dennis, before I let you go, is it possible at all to try and work out where you lost it today when the time difference was so small? Could you have done anything different?
Like I said, done anything different? I was second to go in the jump off, you know, and like I said, it's a new ride. We only have him a couple of months, and there was definitely one less on the boat rollbacks, like from fence 2 to 3. And obviously from the vertical back to the water tray vertical, the second last one, I could have done one less. But it's a new ride, and I thought, you know, more important, leave the pole up, which we did. And sadly got beaten, but better second and third. There'll be another day, please God.
We loved seeing the emotion in you today. Bring us more of that throughout the season. Tough break, but congratulations to you in Brooklyn Heights. We will see you in Prague and, of course, throughout the year as well. Thank you, sir.
Please God. All the best, Mark. Thank you.
There we go. Dennis Lynch, wonderful character. He says that he's not often a man of emotion, but if you go back and watch the emotions in that jump-off, he was absolutely living and breathing and feeling every single moment. But the big headline of the night will be that Ludger Beerdebam has now won his second Lgct Grand Prix title in 3 events. 3 Germans back to back to back, in fact, from Ludger, Kathleen Ackerman and Beerdebam again in Mexico City. But Dennis Lynch will take the golden ticket to Prague, and that is where we leave it. We have a fortnight off, and we'll see you back here again for more GCL and Lgct action as we head to Madrid. Stay with us here on GCTV for more. We'll chat soon. Bye-bye.